And then we have Molly saying, Blade Runner.
Yay, Blade Runner.
Blade Runner. Then we have another vote from your mother.
My mother?
Saying, duh, Blade Runner wins hands down.
Aw, well, you know, she is my mom.
Yeah. And Blade Runner is...
It's so good.
really good.
So good.
And we should talk about the fact that there are like a couple different versions of this movie.
Yeah.
There's the theatrical cut,
Yep.
which has a much maligned voiceover narration, which I understand removing it makes the movie a little bit better, but I don't hate it as much as a lot of people
No,
do.
it
Because
never
essentially
bothered me.
this movie is a film noir set in the future. And that's very much film noir voiceover. So I'm kind of okay with it being there. But I can see how removing it doesn't take anything away from the movie, and it could improve it for some people.
I saw the city from Blade Runner.
Yeah.
I went to the Museum of Motion Picture in New York City.
Yes.
They have this gigantic table,
I've been to that
Just-
museum too.
the giant table,
Yeah.
just the Blade Runner city.
Yeah.
It's pretty sweet. If it had fit in my backpack, I might have stolen it, but alas, it was bigger than me.
Yeah. But yeah, so based on a Philip K. Dick story,
I love Philip K. Dick.
and it's set in a future where there are replicants, which are very, very human-like robots.
Then you got Harrison Ford cop.
Yeah.
Got to run
I
around.
guess they're not robots, they're clones. I'm not
They're
sure.
clones.
They're clones.
Clone bots.
Clone bots thing, yeah.
Sure.
They bleed though, so I'm not sure. I guess they are robots, but they have blood.
Cyborgs.
Yeah. something.
Cyborgs, half human, half robot.
And they're at least as intelligent as humans, but stronger, better.
Yeah.
And they're used as slaves, and they're kind of tired of that, and so they're hunted down by a Blade Runner, who is somebody who retires them.
Yeah.
And the whole thing that a lot of fans have with the movie is whether or not Harrison Ford's Blade Runner is a replicant himself.
Yeah.
And there are little hints that he could be in the movie, but it's very ambiguous.
It's what's awesome about it. It's
And
open to
I think it was a conversation that Roger Ebert had about the movie that said ultimately it doesn't really matter because
Yeah.
his character, if he is a replicant, and the Sean Young character, and even the Rutger Hauer character, the whole thing with the replicants was they weren't supposed to be able to feel emotion.
Yeah.
But these ones are feeling emotion. Even Rutger Hauer, who isn't supposed to feel emotion, he actually starts shedding some tears when.
Sad.
So,
It's a little choked
if you
up.
have a clone of, android, replicant, whatever, who feels emotion and is essentially exactly like a human being, what does it matter if he's a replicant or not?
Yeah. Exactly.
So.
There you go, kids.
There you go. Just get over whether or not he is, and just enjoy that there's an ambiguity. And your mother also said she does like American Graffiti, but she's not sure it counts because, it's not really his movie. But I was like, it counts.
It counts. He's in it.
He's in it.
Whatever.
And American Graffiti wasn't his first movie, but it was kind of his first movie that people took notice. And it was a George Lucas movie, so that led him to Star Wars.
Which started with him being his gardener, right? Or
He's a
carpenter.
carpenter. He was a
Yep, he was
carpenter.
building his porch, and he's like,
Yeah.
"Hey, you've done some acting.
Yeah.
You want to be in a movie?"
And I'm a little upset with our commenters. Not a single vote
No
for Star
Wars, yeah.
No celestial battles.
Who are you guys?
Like, come on, Han Solo. Seriously. I mean, you have Han Solo and you have Indiana Jones. Those are like the two Harrison
big
Ford
things,
characters. Those
yeah.
are the big guns.
Maybe they all thought it'd be too cliche and trendy, and they wanted to seem original.
But they said Indiana Jones. I don't know. Maybe they just forgot. Maybe they
Yeah,
forgot.
by the way, Harrison Ford's in Star Wars, in case you forgot that little fact.
Just saying.
Just
He was
throwing it
Han
out there.
Solo. Han's frickin' Solo. And we've obviously just discussed the Star Wars movies, although we discussed kind of the other ones.
The fake Star Wars movies.
The fake Star Wars movies.
The Crystal Skull to the Star Wars series.
Yes. Yes, George Lucas is just really good at ruining things that he's associated with.
Yep. Like, well, I made a lot of money off this. How can I destroy
Right.
it as much as possible for the loyal fans?
I bet you have.
But we don't really need to say anything about Star Wars, do we? I mean, they're great, and Han Solo is a fantastic character.
And it's Star Wars.
And it's Star Wars. And there is always that great story about, Harrison Ford improvising the famous line from Empire Strikes Back.
I love you.
I know.
Like a pimp. Like a pimp.
I know.
And I think that was something that was, they were doing lots of just different takes, and that's the one that they eventually got to. Because originally in the script it was, I love you too. Lame.
Very lame.
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 But, right after he got Han Solo, he got Indiana Jones, and Indiana Jones is...
And then it just kept rolling from there.
Going and going and going.
And now it's been a few years. He's been acting for a little while.
I think he's been struggling in the new millennium, but I think Cowboys and Aliens was a good role for him.
Yeah, I think he kicked some serious butt. And I'm sick of people saying that they think he should retire.
No.
He can fly helicopters out into the wilderness and rescue people, which he does.
Yeah. You know what?
I think he can act in a movie.
Yeah, and last year he was in Morning Glory with Rachel McAdams and Diane Keaton, and I liked that movie quite a bit, actually.
Yeah, I didn't see that.
It was cute, and again, he was kind of playing the grouchy, craggy old man.
He's so good at it.
And he's so good at it, but he just has moments where he kind of gets to have a monologue. He has them like in this movie too, Cowboys and Aliens, where you're just like, oh, he's just a big old teddy bear.
He is.
You just want to give him a hug.
Except when he talks about his paw. Part's a little disturbing.
Yeah.
It's okay though. We still love you, Harrison
And then
Ford.
kind of in the similar vein as Morning Glory, there was a Working Girl, which you got to see him do kind of a light comedy. And
Yes, he's kind of bubbly in that movie.
He kind of is, and it's kind of nice to see because he doesn't get to do comedy very often, although both Han Solo and Indiana Jones get to have
their fun little
they get their
one-liners.
wisecracks in there.
He's a funny guy,
He's a
think.
funny guy.
He cracks me up.
And Working Girl, I actually just rewatched it last night, and it does date a little bit because they have the big
Giant
hair
and
the Madonna makeup
yeah.
and
It's very 80s.
it is very 80s. It has such an amazing cast. You get to see a lot of people when they were
It's good
really
people.
young.
Yeah.
Like Kevin Spacey has one scene in it where he's playing this coked out broker, and it's so funny. It's like
best
a
part in the
2-minute
movie.
scene, and
think
it's
that's my
so
favorite.
funny. And Oliver Platt has a small role in it. And you just get to see all these little people like
Tossed in, and it's like,
Alec Baldwin, like
Yeah.
as kind of like the original like Guido. He's just like, hey.
And that was kind of before he started haunting
Yeah.
my nightmares.
Yeah.
When he wasn't too scary yet.
Yeah. And it's just really pretty great, and it's just a kind of an old-fashioned kind of romantic comedy. With a little female empowerment in there. Sigourney Weaver is just like, could have been a candidate for being in Horrible Bosses.
Yeah, she was terrible in that.
Yeah. She was just,
so
she's like,
mean.
she breaks her leg on a ski accident, and she's just like having like a party like with her leg up, and she's like, oh, ha, 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 ha. And you're just like, oh my, you're just
Have you no shame,
a
woman?
terrible person. Just a terrible, terrible person. And as I said, it's just really nice to see Harrison Ford kind of in a lighter mode, and he's just such a good guy. Like, Melanie Griffith's character, she gets drunk, and he just like, instead of taking advantage of her, he carries her up to his apartment,
Tucks her in.
and like takes her clothes off, and he's like, I kept my eyes closed the whole time. I swear nothing happened. She's like, are you sure? I might have peeked.
Might have just.
A little peeked a little bit.
It's okay though. Give the guy.
There's one scene where at this tacky wedding that's like got this Caribbean vibe, and he has this like huge drink, and it's the way he just like gets his mouth around the straw, and he's just like awkwardly like downs the whole drink through the straw is so funny. And it just shows
This is not my first fruity beverage. I tell you.
it just shows you like how he really does have really good comic timing, and he just doesn't get to show it that often.
Yeah, I really would like to see him in some more comedy before he gets too old.
Yeah, and then there's definitely another film we can't miss, and I'm very upset that our commenters missed it. I almost forgot it.
Oh?
The Fugitive.
It's a good one.
That's a good one.
Very, very good.
That's a very good one. And you also have Tommy Lee Jones in that, in the movie that kind of made him a star. Won him his Oscar.
Yeah.
And it's based on a TV show, and it's one of those few examples of a remake or a reworking of a TV show or a movie that might be better than the original, or at least as good
I
as.
saw the original Fugitive. But
I've seen a few episodes of
Yeah.
it. But it certainly honors it and respects it, and it is a great
good.
film in its own right. And it's just basically like a 2-hour chase film, and it's very intelligent cat and mouse game between Harrison Ford and Tommy Lee Jones.
It's awesome. And
It's
they
really
work
good.
really well together. It's just kind of one of those things where it's like, oh, peanut butter and jelly do taste good together.
Yes.
Why don't we use this more?
And it's like, hey, Tommy Lee Jones' character is awesome in this. Let's give him his own movie called U.S. Marshals and have it be the exact same movie, except he's chasing Wesley Snipes and it won't
it's
be
not
as good.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that was tough.
You need Harrison Ford to make it work.
Wesley Snipes. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like Wesley, but
Yeah,
maybe they could both chase Wesley Snipes.
maybe. Be like, hey, remember when I was chasing you?
Let's settle our differences and chase this guy.
But what if he's innocent like I was innocent? Do you really care? Nah, let's go chase him. And then I actually haven't seen the Tom Clancy films, but Patriot Games and Clear and Present Danger.
Saw them for the Patriot games when they first came out, and you know, it's Tom Clancy.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you expect? It's what you'd expect.
Yeah. So, I mean, I've seen parts of them, and I do want to see them, but so that's kind of another iconic character, Jack Ryan. he just like, I need another. You know what? I need another iconic character. Can I steal Jack Ryan from Alec Baldwin?
Sure.
Sure.
Alec Baldwin doesn't care.
He doesn't care. Hunt for Red October is a good movie, but you know what? Fuck. Screw it. We don't care. Get rid of it.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So.
There you go.
There you go. I think
we covered
I think we covered it. I mean, I'm sure there are other movies that we could talk about. As I was saying, I do think that he's kind of had struggles in the new millennium. Like he does stuff like Hollywood Homicide with Josh Hartnett, and it's like
No one should do anything with Josh Hartnett.
I don't hate him as much as you do, but I mean, I recently rewatched parts of Hollywood Homicide, and it's okay.
Yeah.
And it is kind of. You have the buddy cop dynamic, and but it's only okay. And I think that's what's happened in the new millennium, is that Harrison Ford's just been in movies where it's been like, oh, well, that's okay.
We can get him. Why don't we just kind of toss him in there? Because it seems like his old roles were like they were made for him.
Right.
Even if they weren't, he like really took those roles and made them his.
Yeah.
Whereas with the new ones, they're like, oh, here's Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
Here you go.
So, but
Use
I
him as you
do
wish.
think with like Morning Glory and Cowboys and Aliens, his last two movies, I do think he's kind of back on track. So good for Harrison Ford.
Yeah. No more Indiana Jones.
No more Indiana Jones. But hey, we're done. We're out of time again.
Oh.
So I don't even know what we're doing next week.
Huh.
Is it Rise of the Planet of the Apes? Maybe. But anyway, come back and get lost in movies with us again.